when you went to school, what was normal cholesterol? Let's look. Right, 240. Some of the older folks, older practitioners here, maybe it was 270, maybe it was 300. Right? They're like, hey, we're selling a bunch of these drugs. Let's just lower the bar, and we'll sell more drugs. It worked. It was brilliant. Great quote from Dr. Mann. Saturated fat, cholesterol, and diet are not the cause of coronary heart disease. They've been demonized to spell toxic, useless, ineffective, untested, or untested but unproven drugs. So I'm a little bit preaching to the choir here. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but this is the punchline. Blood cholesterol levels have nothing to do with heart disease, has nothing to do with plaque. Reducing blood cholesterol does not reduce cardiovascular risk, the exception being that blood cholesterol is over 300, which is fairly unusual. I sold my New York practice to a Johns Hopkins trained cardiologist, and he pointed out that the epidemiological data says that even patients with familial hypercholesterolemia, cholesterol may be 3, 4, 5, 6, 700. He says he draws the vial, and you just see the fat just floating around in great clouds in the vial, have a lower incidence of heart disease and cardiac mortality than the general population, except a subgroup that takes statins. It's one of the biggest lies of all time, to the tune of $30 billion a year in sales globally. Cholesterol drugs do not reduce the risk of heart attack or cardiovascular disease, and the number needed to treat is 100 on average. Now, how successful would you be in your practice if a new patient walked in and said, hey, hey doc, can you help me? Well, I can help you, but I just want you to know that I have to treat 100 patients for 5 years for one patient to benefit. Is that okay with you? How successful would you be in growing a practice? Not very, unless you had the marketing people at Pfizer behind you, makers of glyphosate. This thing is the biggest scam of our modern time, next to vaccines. I won't get started on them. I've got 16 hours of material, or 12 hours of material on vaccinations. I'm not going to get into that. But I love this quote from Dr. Haber, professor of internal medicine. Current evidence supports ignoring LDL cholesterol altogether. What does LDL do? When there's endothelial damage from infection, inflammation, trauma, whatever, toxicity, what rushes to the area to repair the damage? LDL. And then what comes in when the repair job has been done? Thumbs up, good job guys. What comes to the area to take the LDL away? HDL, which is the same cholesterol, only the protein portion is different. So, the thing is a massive scam. LDL is not a cause of anything. It's an effect of chronic inflammation or infection or other sources of damage. It's not a cause of anything. It's an effect. If LDL is elevated, I suppose it's probably systemic inflammation damaging the endothelium of the artery.